Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our next edition of our webinar series, Destination Alaska with Princess. Thank you for joining me today. My name is Rachel Tyrrell. I'm the State Manager for Princess Cruises, and I'm excited to share this amazing destination with you all. Now, I was fortunate enough to co-host a family group across to Alaska in September last year, and we did a cruise tour, the Denali Explorer, going from Vancouver right up to Fairbanks, and it was an amazing trip and just the most incredible opportunity. And I want to share some of my first-hand experience with you. And throughout the presentation today, I've got some of our images as well from my personal photos to try and bring the destination a little bit more to life for you. So let's get into it. So when we think of cruising up in Alaska, why choose Princess? Well, we are the #1 cruise line in Alaska with more than 50 years cruising experience up in this region. We offer premium cruising experience. We have newer, larger ships, more facilities, more inclusions, and also offer premium balcony mini suite staterooms for your guests. Something that is new is our new bundles, where we offer even better value when you actually book a cruise. You can prepay the bundles in Australian dollars before your clients go, and you can also pick up extra commission. We offer personalised service like no other with the Medallion class experience, new upgraded Medallion app. Everything is at your fingertips, whatever you want on demand, and you can message your shipmates. It really is a game changer for the industry. Also, we own and operate our own wilderness lodges up in Alaska, and we have our exclusive direct to the wilderness rail service as well. Our immersive, authentic Alaskan experiences, we have a program called North to Alaska, which really sets us apart. And we, of course, cruise to over 300 plus destinations around the world, and we are the original love boat. It's part of our heritage and who we are today. We've been awarded the best cruise line up in Alaska for the last 16 years consecutively by Travel Weekly. So in summary, Princess offers a premium cruise experience for all travellers, taking guests around the globe, offering exceptional service and value, and creating memories and experiences that they love. Now, why travel to Alaska? So I guess the three reasons to highlight would be the wildlife. And you'll obviously get an opportunity to visit Denali National Park, and this is a must. The big five being grizzlies, moose, wolves, Dall sheep, and also caribou. The glaciers. Now, the glaciers, every voyage, when you go on an Alaskan cruise, includes going up to Glacier Bay, but on many we have, particularly on our north and southbound itineraries, you'll get 2 glacier viewing opportunities as well. And the national parks. So Denali obviously is the #1, and there is actually a lot located up in that region. Princess takes more guests to Alaska each year than any other cruise line. Now, you may be asking yourself the question as to what's the best time, and no matter what time your clients choose to visit Alaska, they'll be treated to something special. Obviously, our early, what we call our early shoulder season, April, May time, is springtime. So it's when, the wildlife is starting to come out and out of hibernation. There's less rain than sort of in the peak time. In the peak time, so June, July, obviously it's a more expensive time, but it's certainly a lot busier, and it's the warmest time, and it's also the best time to see whales. So it depends on what your customers are really hoping to see. Now, I've been to Alaska twice before, and I will tell you that every time I've been, it's been in September, so what we call our late shoulder season. It was relatively still warm. You've got the beautiful full foliage, particularly up in Denali National Park, and it's the best months for the Northern Lights. So, but I really think it comes down to personal choice, what your clients are after. But for me, late in the season has always served me well, particularly because I've got to see the Northern Lights. Now, in terms of our North to Alaska program, This really sets us apart, and it allows you to see, feel, and taste the very best of Alaska. So this is an award-winning program, and we have things like seen on screen. We have naturalists that come on board up in Glacier Bay that talk about the unique flora and fauna in the area. We have amazing shore excursions where you can do what's called cook your catch. So if you can hook your fish out in your shore excursion, we'll organise to bring it back for you. We get access to meeting some of the locals. So one of the things that I was fortunate enough to experience was having met Libby Riddles, who was the first female who won the Iditarod. And she shares her inspiring story in terms of her training schedule and working with the dogs. And it really was an amazing experience. Now, in terms of dining up in Alaska, I mean, you are really spoilt for choice in terms of the different options that we have available, whether it be on board the cruise or up in the lodges. Certainly, it's the seafood capital of the world. So think salmon, king crab, those types of things are readily available. So let's take a look at the itineraries. So we have a whole range, and what I've tried to do is just give you a summary of what we have on offer. So in terms of cruise, we have 7 ships up in Alaska in 2025 across 18 unique itinerary options ranging from 4 to 22 nights. Now, our home ports for our departures are San Francisco, Los Angeles, Seattle, Vancouver, and Anchorage, or Whittier is the port where that we use up in Anchorage. Now, we also do cruise tours as well, ranging from 9 to 17 nights and departing from Fairbanks, obviously going southbound, Anchorage or Vancouver northbound, which is what I did. But certainly my best recommendation is that if you've got clients that are interested in Alaska, first port of call that you have to talk about is our cruise tour program, because there is no better way to experience Alaska with our direct rail service, which basically is our, we own and operate these rail carriages. We have our own own carriages, and you've got these glass dome carriages, so you can see all the sights and spot wildlife as you're cruising. But I think the convenience is that there's less moving parts. You get off the ship straight off in Whittier and then straight on the Denali Express, and off you go. So let's take a look at some of our cruise only itineraries. So obviously a lot of people talk about, I want to do the Inside Passage. Okay, so we've got the Inside Passage cruise there. And we've got a range of cruises from 4 to 7 nights, and obviously covering off the key ports of call for Alaska being Juneau, Skagway and Ketchikan. And what I wanted to highlight, though, is a new cruise that we have. It's called the Ultimate Alaska Cruise. It's a 17-night cruise, ex-Seattle. It's covering 9 different ports. So some of those smaller ports that we don't go to, obviously, on the normal Inside Passage, like Haines and Sitka as well. So, and also Valdez. We also have a 22-night round trip sailing as well from San Francisco that coincides with the summer solstice on the 21st of June 25. And we also have a 16-day Inside Passage cruise going up to Glacier Bay, round trip from Los Angeles on Grand Princess. So you can get 6 ports and 1 scenic viewing opportunity. So there's lots of choice and lots of different combinations as part of what we offer in terms of cruise only. But as I said earlier, for me, the best way to see it is on our, and these are certainly our top rated cruise only, is our north and southbound Voyage of the Glaciers itinerary. So these are certainly our most popular. So obviously if you're going northbound, people often ask which side of the ship should they be on. Our recommendation obviously is starboard. And my personal preference is going from north to south. And I think that's our most popular for Australian and Kiwis. So you cruise first and then you finish with the land. And for me, it's saving the very best of the interior to last. Obviously, it gives you an opportunity to store your bags and, from your cruise, and a lot of the formal wear that you just don't need. And you can fly in before into Vancouver, easy access, and away you go. We also do the southbound. Southbound, again, if you're looking at southbound, probably the preferred side of the ship would be port side. It's certainly a little bit cheaper, so better value, and it's certainly the preferred option for our North American friends because they want to do the cruise first and the land content first, and then finish with the cruise and then a shorter flight, back home. But for me personally, I would always look at northbound. So let's take a look at the destination that is Alaska. So Juneau. So as many of you all know, Juneau is the capital of Alaska, and it's only accessible by sea or air. And downtown Juneau is very walkable. Obviously, we pull up at the dock and you can walk into town. It's probably, even walking around the whole town, it's about 15 minutes. So it's very easy and accessible. Now, Juneau is an economy that is built on fishing. So there's lots of opportunities for that. And it's got a population of about 32,000. There's so much to do in Juneau. So just to give you some ideas, and this is new, on our Princess website on princess.com, we now have given people some suggestions if you're, first-time traveller to Alaska or you're a nature lover, etc. The best and most popular shore excursions to actually do. So, for example, first-timers in Juneau might want to do Best of Juneau, Best of Ketchikan, or Best of Skagway as a start. But there's so much to do. So just to highlight some of the things that we did on our tour. So we did the summer camp shore excursion, and you can see here we just had the most spectacular day going up to the summer camp where all the dogs are in training for the Iditarod, and it was fantastic to really get up close and personal to see how these dogs live and their trainers, and again, meet the locals. It was just a fantastic experience. Another thing in Juneau would be going out to Mendenhall Glacier. You can also do the glacier flight seeing, and there's also a fabulous gin distillery as well. Now, something that is very popular in Juneau is the Red Dog Saloon. Now, this is a must, and I will tell you they're famous for their duck farts, and I would highly recommend that you, when you're over in Alaska, or tell your clients to definitely check out the Red Dog Saloon, because it's certainly a bit of an icon in Juneau. Now, in terms of shore excursions, all the agents did different things, but I just wanted to hero a couple of our agents that did do the flight seeing, where they actually took a helicopter up to one of the glaciers and did a glacier landing and walked around. And you can see from the photos, the imagery is just spectacular. Also, you could go and have lunch at Tracy's King Crab Shack if you like king crab. But there's so much to do, and you can see spectacular scenery on, all around you in Juneau. Now, moving on to Icy Point. Now, with Icy Point, again, lots of different activities here in terms of those that are after adventure. You can do the zip rider. You can go out on a bear hunt, whale watching, but there's loads of outdoor adventures you can see there with the buggies as well. Now, Ketchikan. Now, a fun fact that you may not know, it rains for 300 days a year in Ketchikan, and it's the salmon capital of the world, and the economy is very much built around tourism and timber. And one thing that's really interesting to note about Alaska is that during the summer months, they have 18 hours or up to 18 hours of daylight. So it's quite a a change for us as Australians going there. So, you try and go to bed and, it's broad daylight. But Ketchikan has so much to do, whether it's, visiting Creek Street and going to Dolly's house, again, going on one of the fishing tours to catch king crab, the flight seeing, definitely the lumberjack show, which is a must, and also some local favourites, the Burger Queen restaurant and also the Arctic Bar. Is definitely a must whilst you're up there as well. Now, Skagway. Skagway was a really interesting little town. There's a lot of history in terms of the goldfields, and certainly back in the olden days when people flocked to Alaska and the Yukon in hope of striking it rich. And it's a really easy town, again, to walk around. There's only a population of 1,000 residents that actually still live in the town. And there's loads of different things that you can do up in Skagway. We actually did the White Pass Scenic Railway, which really was spectacular. I mean, the scenery is next level. And again, you've got these beautiful rail carriages that have got glass dome carriages. You've got outdoor viewing platforms. And also my colleague, Ellie, who I was traveling with, actually was feeling energetic and did a mountain biking through Skagway as well. So just some of the key highlights. Now, when you're on your cruise, one of the probably main highlights is the opportunity to do this scenic cruising, and it's one of the real reasons that people go to Alaska. And Glacier Bay National Park, which is a UNESCO World Heritage site, it's just such a spectacular space. Now, when we were there, unfortunately, unlike the photos pictured today, this was some of the views that we had. It was very overcast. It was grey. As you can tell the way that we're dressed, it was absolutely freezing cold. One of the nice things, though, that we do on board is that they have staff coming around with blankets and serving hot chocolate and cookies to keep you warm. But, Glacier Bay, so we did Glacier Bay and College Fjord on our trip, but it really was, spectacular. One of the other features up in this area is that they do a full 360, but to be honest with you, the weather was not on our side, but we saw sea otters and eagles, and we saw a few whales up in this area as well, but really spectacular. It was quite eerie. It was so quiet and, everyone out on deck, but it really was a spectacular experience. Now, moving on to cruise tours, and as I said, to really get the best out of Alaska, the destination, I would really encourage you to recommend to your clients that they do a combination of cruise, train, and stay at our lodges. Okay, and that's essentially what a cruise tour is. So we have for 2025, we have 27 different cruise tours available across 5 different of our lodges. And basically, our key selling point really is that we own and operate these lodges. These were built back in the 80s, and every cruise tour basically includes obviously a visit to Glacier Bay National Park, as well as going up to Denali, which is obviously the home to the tallest peak in North America. And it really is, the ultimate experience to do the cruise, the train, and the lodges. So let's take a look at our map of Alaska. So if I specify or highlight what we did, so we went out of Vancouver, going to Juneau, Skagway, and Ketchikan, and then off the ship in Whittier, and then on to McKinley, Denali, and then up to Fairbanks Riverside Lodge. And it was spectacular. Now, we also have 5 lodges. So in addition to McKinley, Mount McKinley and Denali, both wilderness lodges, we have the Kenai Wilderness Lodge, Copper River, and also Fairbanks Riverside Lodge. Now, in terms of what we have on offer, so we have these 4 different cruise tour components. So you've got either on your own, you've got the Denali Explorer, Off the Beaten Path, or our Connoisseur program. So we really do have something for everyone. Something that you might find interesting to note is actually the prices. So when you're looking, my recommendation is Connoisseur, so the 12 to 17 night option. You're looking at $379 per person per day. Now, to me, when you add up all your meals, your activities, your entertainment, your accommodation, etc., for a cruise, the rail and the lodges, it's exceptional value. We did the Explorer, but certainly I would say to you that Connoisseurs is really what you want to, highlight to your clients. The Off the Beaten Path one is quite an interesting one because it goes to our smaller lodges, which is Kenai and Copper River. So they have some nice, for those people that don't necessarily want to be, in with a large group of people, these are smaller and, as the name suggests, more off the beaten path. So you've got that to consider. Now for 2025, we actually have a new National Parks cruise tour, and this really allows your clients to delve deeper into these lodges, and it's basically an 8-night on the land, so 7 nights Voyage of the Glaciers, and you're going to all 5 lodges. So to me, this is a really exciting new cruise tour that we have on offer. As part of the land tour, there will be a visit to Katamai National Park, as well as to see the Wildlife Conservation Centre up there as well. Now, in terms of cruise tour of how to book, I've just chosen one that sort of is my favourite because what it allows for is your clients to have 2-night stays in each of our lodges, being McKinley and Denali. So, for example, you do the 7-night cruise from Vancouver up to Whittier. Obviously, you've got Glacier Bay National Park. On this particular itinerary, you've got College Fjord as well. And then you get off the ship in Whittier, and there's a direct transfer onto the Denali Explorer train that gets you straight into Mount McKinley. So you can literally, in one day, get off the ship in Whittier, you arrive into a place called Talkeetna, and then you're going straight in and you bust into Mount McKinley. The tour that I really promote to everyone is Tour T. Think of Rachel Tyrrell, Tour T, and the cruise code is TA6, and it's a 13-night northbound. So you do the cruise followed by the land tour, and certainly this is my top pick. Now, in terms of how to book it in Polar, so what you would do, rather than using the cruise search, you use on the right-hand side of Polar the cruise tour search. So again, red are the mandatory fields. So home city would be Sydney. The key point of difference here is destination. You have to choose what destination you're after. So obviously on this particular cruise, we're looking at northbound. So we want to go northbound. So we would choose northbound. And the tour code was TA6. And then you would pop that down where the cruise tour numbers. Then it would bring up the selection. And as you can see to the right, you've got the cruise and land component. So then when you go to the actual pricing summary page, you can actually see a total price for your cruise and your land, which makes it fantastic fit and easy for you to book. Okay, so definitely if you want more training, there are user guides available on OneSource, and also some videos, little tutorials that you can do as well, just in case you did get any inquiries. Now, we also do have, in addition to that, there is a tab that also has all the travel packages, and it gives you, and it lists breakdown of all the different inclusions, and for example, where you're staying, what meals are included, etc. Now, one thing that I did forget to mention, and if I can just finish off this section and mention it, the reason why also I mention Connoisseur, and the reason, yes, it's our highest level of service, but it is hosted by a tour director and includes most meals. So again, your clients have got the convenience of going into the lodges. They get a little envelope that has all of their meal vouchers. And when they're staying up in the lodges, they can go to any of the lodges that they choose, which makes it, again, very convenient. It's got your room key and off you go. So it makes life really easy. So just remember, with the cruise tours, you want to have 2-night stays in each of the lodges. And obviously the tour that I highlighted there did have 2 nights at McKinley, 2 nights in Denali, 2 nights in Fairbanks. This is a must, because otherwise you're not getting into the lodges till late. And there's so much to see around these lodges, even just walking around the lodges, going exploring, going bear hunting or looking for moose. Yeah, it's a really great thing to do. Now, I just wanted to highlight, this is us. So you can sort of see by the morning. So we got off the ship. I think we had a transfer off the ship at about 7 a.m. And I think the train departed at about 7:15 out of Whittier. So that's just, we're in, darkness to daylight. So you can see the beautiful glass dome carriages. We had a meal service on board, which was fabulous. And yeah, so we've got our own Princess dedicated carriages, which are highlighted there. So from there, we went into Mount McKinley, and this is a spectacular lodge. As I said before, it is in the wilderness, and it's located south of the Denali National Park, and it's near the Chilinta River, and it's really a true wilderness retreat. There's loads of different recreational activities and amenities here. You've got beautiful open fireplaces. There's gifts and multiple different dining venues that you can go. Activities like horse riding, rafting, toasting marshmallows, going out to the tree house. There's loads of things happening up in McKinley. Now, this is just a little few images. One of our agents sitting by the fire reading a book, and the tree house, and that little group shot is us in Talkeetna. So it'd be wrong of us not to have a drink whilst enjoying the town, which is a really tiny little quaint town, very Alaskan, and yeah, certainly some fantastic shopping opportunities there. And then next stop was Denali. So now Denali really is kind of the crown jewel. And as I said, because we do own and operate our lodges here, it's the closest and most comfortable place to stay when visiting Denali National Park. It's only about a mile from the entrance to the national park, and it's certainly, a must when going up to this area. This is some shots of Denali. So this is probably my favourite wilderness lodge. It's certainly the biggest. It's just had a major refurb. So the accommodation is, you've got that real authentic lodge feel. Everything's been updated. And again, you've got lots of different eateries and amazing seafood that is sourced locally in these areas as well. Now, when we headed into Denali, I've got to say the full foliage in terms of the colour was absolutely spectacular. So we did, as part of our itinerary, we did the natural history tour, and believe it or not, it was a full day itinerary. And I think there was a few of us that were like, oh, do we really need to do a full day? It was spectacular. We saw moose, we saw bears, we had a real mix of, these beautiful full foliage colours coming out, and then you had snow-capped mountains. But it was a really great way to, again, meet some locals, see how they lived in that area. But it was just spectacular. I must say, the tour guides, when you're going up through Denali, they're obviously talking about all the history and that is Denali. But one of the things, when we actually saw a moose, all of a sudden someone would spot a moose and it would be like, moose. And everyone from one side of the ship, not the ship, the coach, would jump across to the other side. It was a really great day up in Denali. So again, a must when you're going up to that area. And then Fairbanks. So Fairbanks is one of my all-time favourite places. We had a beautiful stay up at the Riverside Lodge, and it's only minutes, believe it or not, to the international airport and also the rail railway as well. So very convenient and quite close to get into downtown Fairbanks. So Fairbanks is actually the second largest city in Alaska, and it's named as the Golden Heart for its historical and also gold industries in that location. So you've got Fairbanks, you can see there the Northern Lights, the lodge. These are just some of our images of the inside of the lodge and what it looks like. It had a beautiful, very comfortable, very traditional lodge feel. One of the tours that we did that was included as part of our package was a riverboat cruise, and we got to visit actually. We went to the Chena village, and we got to hear from the locals about, their dress and, how they, forage for food and how they prepare themselves for the winter. And it was a really great day. And I would highly recommend that. And then the ultimate. So this was our last night in Fairbanks, and we had a full-on day. And believe it or not, these shots are taken at about 2:30 in the morning. Most people had gone to bed. And whilst we did see, some of the lights not in all its glory, like we got to see here, it really was spectacular. It was eerie. It was, just an incredible experience. It's hard to actually explain. You just have to go there, because literally these lights, they move, they come and they go away, and they literally just disappear. But absolutely spectacular. Then we've got Kenai. Now, these lodges, so Kenai is and Copper River are our smaller lodges. And as I said to you, for people that are really wanting to get off the beaten path. So you've got Kenai, and it's certainly got a real bungalow style. You've got a little lounge and a bit more space to really enjoy, lots of outdoor walking tracks and areas to sort of discover for Kenai. And then we've got Copper River as well. So again, you've got spectacular mountain views, breathtaking scenery of Wrangell St. Elias National Park, just a really great place to visit if you're wanting a smaller lodge experience. Now, the other thing that I just wanted to remind you about is our bundles. Now, I'm sure that you're all very familiar with the bundles and how they actually work. So you've got the Princess Plus at $65 a day, or the Princess Premier at $95 a day. Now, I just want to highlight, remember that when we're cruising up in Alaska, the prices, the cruise is in US dollars. The currency on board, is US dollars, and tipping does apply. So it's much more convenient for your clients to pay $65 upfront in Australian dollars before they go, plus it's commissionable to you as well. So I can't stress that enough. All the group had Princess Plus, and certainly, it was well worth it. Obviously, I'm not going to run through everything, but I think the great things that it did include is things like the Ocean Now, the casual dining. Who'd want to forget our premium desserts, but also the access to the casual dining as well, which is fantastic. Now, moving on to Easy Air. Now, I'll just say at the outset, for me, Easy Air, I understand it's not commissionable to you guys, but having used Easy Air myself recently, one of the best features of Easy Air is the fact that you've got 24/7 support when you do cruise with us, and this really is invaluable. One of the other key highlights is that we've got what we call late arrival protection. So in the case that, your flight is delayed on the day that you are about to embark, or for whatever reason you miss your onward flight, miss your transfer, etc., it's the onus is on us to get you to the next port. And you also, in terms of the fares, we have two types of fares. You've got flexible, or you've got restricted. Now, restricted, as you would know, as instant purchase, and we also have flexible. With the flexible, The benefit is that you don't have to make payment until 45 days prior to sailing, and you can make changes as well for no fees. So it's definitely something to consider. Certainly, you could put a service fee, there for Easy Air. Now, I'm very excited to share with you that we've got an amazing incentive at the moment, and it sort of feeds into the drinks packages. It's a real simple one. All you need to do is make a booking. It started on the 1st of July, and it runs for the duration of our campaign, which is our current 25 early bird campaign, and it runs through until the 12th of September. And all you need to do is simply make a booking on Princess Plus or Premier, and you go into the draw to win an amazing prize. Now, we've got 5 lucky travel agents will win. It's 2 nights at the Langham in Melbourne, and then it's a 4-day cruise from Melbourne to Brisbane on Diamond Princess, and it's for the 7th of December. So basically, it's a quick little getaway before Christmas. We've also got some gift cards that will also be on offer. So definitely, if you're making any bookings, jump on and register for our Wine, Dine and Sail incentive, which is out now. Now, in summary, I know that I've covered a lot of information in the presentation. I did want to just share with you that we have our new brochure. So this is our new brochure, our Alaska 24 and 25. And I will tell you that 26 is due to be launched very shortly as well at the end of the month. But I just wanted to give you a summary, but my top tips. So just remember, with Princess, we are the #1 cruise line in Alaska. And we take more people to Glacier Bay than any other cruise line. The value of the bundles, obviously, when you're cruising up in Alaska, it's US dollars. So being able to pre-purchase the bundles in Australian dollars is invaluable and the best value for your customers. I also wanted to remind you about the benefits of booking a cruise tour as opposed to cruise only, because you see so much more. And as I said, my pick out of the land tours, out of our 5, would be our Connoisseur program. As I said, highest level of service, hosted by a tour director, and your meals, and you get more time on the ground. I would also recommend the 2-night stays in each of the lodges, because there's so many different combinations here. In terms of the season, it's really down to personal choice, but obviously the peak being July, but you may want to consider mid to late being the less people on the ground, but also a bit more affordable. Now, in terms of dress codes, this is an interesting one. On my experience of being to Alaska on the 2 occasions that I've been, I had sort of mixed weather, but I would say definitely layers, and it's very casual. So even on board the ship, it is very casual at night, whilst we do have all of the formal nights and cocktail parties and everything like that going on. I find that people are, got much more casual feel on board. And obviously with the layers, weather changes really quickly. So it can be a bright sunny day and the next minute you've got gale force winds or whatever the case may be, and it's turned cold. One thing that I didn't take this time, but I forgot, is your binoculars. If you've got a pair of binoculars, definitely bring them because you will use them, particularly up in Glacier Bay and when you're going through Denali National Park. That's a must. In terms of your hand luggage, one of the great things on the cruise tour that they provide, and it's just all round convenient, is that particularly when you're doing the northbound, so you've done your cruise and there's a lot of stuff in your main bag that you just actually don't need for the land. You can actually send that straight to Fairbanks, or you've got a little tag that comes in your documentation. It says, "Join me tonight," and then that will come to each of the lodges each day, each night. But there's some of my top tips. I've got to say, for me, Alaska is definitely one of those bucket list destinations. It's a must do. And I think that, if you remember about Princess, that we are the #1 cruise line in Alaska, you'll be serving your clients well. As I said, our program for 26 is actually, it will be announced on the 24th of July, and we'll have our loyalty week that will kick off on the 26th of July, and it will open for general sale on the 2nd of August. So I know I've given you a lot of information. The final thing that I really just wanted to say to you all is thank you for amazing support. If you would like any more information, please reach out to your state manager, because they're a wealth of information and knowledge, and I know that we're all keen to do actual consumer nights for you, film nights, where we can share our love and passion for this destination. So on behalf of all the team at Princess, thank you for joining me today for the webinar, and don't forget to set up your select sailings, cruise sales, and yeah, I wish you all the best in selling Princess Alaska. Thank you very much.